This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we're talking about what happens when you commit insurance fraud, are convicted, and sentenced to prison. You find out that when you do the crime, you must do the time. And even though the government allows people to seek a reduction in their sentence for reasons of helping family, when a person is convicted of a crime, the hardship inflicted on his family is the result of his actions alone. In a case entitled United States versus Tarek Abou-Khatwa, the United States District Court for the District of Columbia on October 24, 2025, ruled after defendant Tarek Abou-Khatwa was convicted in November of 2019 on 22 counts related to a sophisticated health insurance fraud scheme as head of an insurance brokerage firm. Initially, Tarek was sentenced to 70 months in prison. After less than 16 months in prison, Tarek was placed on home confinement under the CARES Act. He was later remanded to prison for violating the conditions of his home confinement order. Tarek filed for sentence reduction under 18 U.S.C. section 3582C2 based on Amendment 821 to the sentencing guidelines, which provides a 2-point offense level reduction for certain 0-point offenders. The parties agreed that Abou-Khatwa was eligible for a reduction under Amendment 821, which applies retroactively and would lower his guideline range from 70 to 87 months to 57 to 71 months. The court, however, is required to consider the nature the nature and circumstances of the offenses, 2, the history and characteristics of the defendant, 3, the need for sentence imposed, 4, the need for sentence available, 5, the sentencing range established, 6, any sentencing commission policy statements, 7, the need to avoid sentencing disparities among defendants, and 8, the need to provide restitution. The court noted that the 8 factors counsel strongly against a sentence reduction. The court found that the crimes were serious, motivated by greed, and involved a calculated scheme resulting in large losses to both a major insurer and small business clients. Defendants' conduct during home confinement, his failure to disclose financial information, persistent complaints about restrictions, and lack of full accountability counted against any reduction in his sentence. The court acknowledged Abou-Khatwa's low risk of recidivism and hardship faced by his family, but the court also noted that those factors were already considered at sentencing and did not outweigh the seriousness of his offense. However, the court concluded that Abou-Khatwa's crimes were so serious and so motivated by greed that despite the fact that he made a handsome living and enjoyed a life of great privilege, defendant engaged in a years-long, calculated scheme to line his pockets with millions of fraudulently obtained dollars. The court concluded that although eligible for a sentence reduction, the court found it unwarranted given the facts and the law and ordered the original sentence to stand. It is important to note that hardships for defendants and their families are common in criminal cases. The existence of hardships on Tarek and his family were not particularly compelling because in Tarek's case, the hardships do not outweigh the seriousness of his crimes and his inappropriate conduct while on home confinement. In my opinion, the United States District Court for the District of Columbia recognized the seriousness of health insurance fraud that made Abou-Khatwa tons of money, hurting individuals and insurers for his handsome living that allowed him to enjoy a life of great privilege. He was caught, tried, convicted, and showed contempt for the system by abusing home confinement after he was imprisoned. He will therefore serve his entire sentence in prison and is responsible for the hardships incurred by his family, not the prosecutor or the courts. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. You can subscribe to the blog, and if you do, you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5 or 6 a week. And you'll also gain access to more than 5,200 blog postings. Please tell your friends and colleagues about this blog and the videos so that they too can subscribe. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance law, and insurance fraud, please consider for a very small fee subscribing to my Substack publication. Thank you for your attention.